It's always scary to start a new sketchbook. I never can really decide what to do, so I wanted to do something that has been spooking in my mind for quite a while. So I was researching on the internet to find a similar pose, a similar feeling that I had in mind, and I had actually found something that was close enough. But while sketching it up, it just felt off. Of course, I wasn't used to the camera setting either, so it wasn't helping me. And the proportions looked off. Again, it was more because it's the first painting of my sketchbook and I was concerned. I really wanted to make it look really good. So when you open it up, you have something that makes you go, wow. But it wasn't the case, so I ended up erasing it. I had previously opened up Clip Studio Pro and had a 3D model more or less in the position with the reference because I wanted to see if the lower body would look different because yes, I'm dumb and I don't like to take my own pictures. So I used that as a reference and sketched it up real quick. With the hands, I just did what I thought would look best in this kind of situation. When I was finally happy with more or less how she looked like, I used my rather thin, I think it was a 0.05 fine liner, cleaned that up more or less. I didn't worry about it too much because I knew that especially the metallic watercolors would cover up plenty of stuff. I decided to use the thicker fine liner to fill in the black part in her lower body because I know that the watercolors can be a bit translucent and I didn't want to have any kind of translucency there, so I could have gotten out my ink and done it with that, but I don't know, I was just too lazy, or I was just lost in thought more than being lazy, and finished it in that way. Could have used a bigger marker at least. I erased the rest of the red as much as possible and started layering in my watercolor skin tone. For that bleeding in, I really loved the really diluted black. I didn't clean my brush and used that to make the skin a bit darker too, and I actually like the skin tone overall, so I just went over that completely. There was no real light source and it's going to be pretty contrasty, so I didn't really care about shadows that much. I busted out my metallic colors and realized that my small brush is just too small to do those kind of big areas. I went in pretty thick and I really like that these metallic colors are pretty not translucent. In the footage, you see more of the unevenly covered places. I didn't see it that much, but again, it was because of a weird angle of the camera and the shininess is not helping, so I wasn't really seeing that it was that uneven. But it's not that bad. That band is representing life in my interpretation, and life is not completely even, not completely perfect, so it makes sense in this kind of context. For the hair, I used the silver just to contrast the warmer color of the copper. And for the tears, I went with gold. At first, I really thought it would stick out a bit more, but the gold and the beige were really close. I did decide at the end to go in with a really thin fine liner to bring that out more. I didn't really clean up my big brush, and that's why that upper corner has some kind of coppery tone, and again, I should have just used ink and covered that in black. It would have made it just much more easier than this blotchy mess that I'm making here. I mean, if it was intentional, it would have made sense, but it didn't. Whatever. I think the day after I was sure that it was completely dry because I was sketching like late at night, I used my fine liner and went over the lines that I did want to see better and those like really white spaces that I didn't want to go in with a brush. And the tears too, I could have done them completely, but just hinting at them made them look more tear-like, so to speak. On the PC then, I sat down and had the black be more black because it's always hard to take a picture and not make it look grayish. I hope this was helpful to you. I would really appreciate if you would support me on Patreon. Supporting here on YouTube is completely free. You can just like, comment what you think about this. If you're scared of starting your sketchbook as well, subscribing would be fun too. And see you next time.